Why Chris Evans almost quit acting before landing Captain America. Chris Evans, the man we now know as the iconic Captain America, was once on the verge of walking away from acting altogether. His journey to superhero stardom wasn't paved with the easy glitz and glam of Hollywood success. Instead, it was riddled with anxiety, doubt, and the crushing weight of public scrutiny. The early days. In the early 2000s, Chris Evans was steadily climbing the Hollywood ladder. He had small but memorable roles in movies like Not Another Teen Movie and Fantastic Four. However, with the fame came an overwhelming sense of pressure. Chris often described himself as a naturally anxious person, and the attention that came with being a rising star amplified those feelings tenfold. When Fantastic Four hit theaters, he got his first real taste of what it meant to be a public figure. Suddenly, everything from his acting to his personal life was under a microscope. While some actors thrive in the spotlight, Evans found himself withdrawing. The struggle. By the late 2000s, Chris began questioning his career path. He had a string of roles, but none gave him the satisfaction or stability he craved. Acting was no longer a source of joy, but a breeding ground for anxiety. In interviews, Chris admitted to experiencing severe panic attacks while on set. These episodes made him doubt his ability to perform and his future in the industry. He confided in friends and family about stepping away from acting entirely. The dream he had chased for years now felt like a burden. The call of Captain America. Around this time, Marvel Studios approached him about playing Steve Rogers in Captain America, the first Avenger. The role was massive, one that could catapult him to a level of fame he wasn't sure he wanted. Initially, Chris turned it down. Twice. Marvel's offer was lucrative, but the commitment was daunting. Multiple movies over a decade, intense scrutiny, and an even bigger spotlight. It was everything Chris feared. The anxiety about taking on such a role outweighed the potential benefits. A life-changing decision. Chris sought advice from those closest to him. His mother, Lisa, played a pivotal role in changing his mind. She told him not to let fear dictate his decisions. "You can't make a decision based on fear," she said. "You've always done what feels right, and this feels like it's right." With her encouragement and after a lot of soul-searching, Chris finally accepted the role. Marvel had faith in him, and now he needed to have faith in himself. The transformation. Stepping into Captain America's boots wasn't just a career move, it was a personal transformation. Playing Steve Rogers taught Chris the values of courage, resilience, and standing tall in the face of fear, qualities he carried into his real life. The role didn't just redefine his career, it helped him conquer his inner battles. Over time, he learned to manage his anxiety and embrace his place in the world. A legacy. Worth the risk. Today, it's hard to imagine anyone else as Captain America. Chris Evans brought depth, humanity, and relatability to a larger-than-life character. But beyond the shield and the super soldier serum is a man who almost gave up on his dream, and in choosing not to, found a path that changed his life. Chris Evans' story reminds us that even our greatest heroes face doubt and fear. Sometimes the hardest battles are the ones we fight within ourselves, and sometimes taking a leap of faith can lead to something extraordinary. In Hollywood, some roles become synonymous with an actor, forever entwining their names with the character they portray. So why Chris Evans turned down the role of Captain America and became that role? However, what most people don't know is that Evans almost turned down the role of a lifetime. The offer that sparked doubt. It was 2010 when Marvel Studios approached Chris Evans for the role of Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. At that time, Evans was no stranger to superhero films, having already portrayed Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, in the Fantastic Four movies. This wasn't just another superhero role. Marvel was offering Evans a 9-picture deal, locking him into a long-term commitment that could define the next decade of his life. It was a daunting prospect. Could he handle the immense scrutiny, the inevitable loss of privacy, and the overwhelming pressure to succeed in such a massive franchise? The weight of fear. Evans wrestled with these questions. He was no stranger to anxiety, and the idea of taking on such a high-profile role terrified him. In interviews years later, Evans admitted that he was scared of losing control over his life. Signing the contract meant sacrificing his personal freedom, something he deeply valued. Marvel's persistence didn't help either. The studio didn't just want him to audition, they outright offered him the role. This wasn't a simple job offer, it was a life-altering decision. Turning it down. Initially, Evans said no. He turned down Marvel's offer, despite the potential for fame and fortune. His decision wasn't based on arrogance or disinterest. It was a refusal born of fear, but Marvel wasn't ready to take no for an answer. The studio saw something in Evans that even he couldn't see in himself. They believed he was the perfect embodiment of Steve Rogers' courage, resilience, and humility. A wise mentor. Steps in Chris Evans sought advice from people he trusted. Among them was Robert Downey Jr., who was already a cornerstone of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Iron Man. Downey assured him that the Marvel family was supportive and collaborative. He emphasized that playing Captain America wasn't just a job, it was a chance to inspire millions. Evans also spoke to his therapist, who helped him confront his fears. The therapy sessions revealed that his anxiety was not a roadblock, but a signal that this role could be transformative. The turning point. Ultimately, Evans realized that fear shouldn't dictate his decisions. He often described himself as someone who liked challenges, and the thought of overcoming this massive hurdle motivated him. After much soul-searching, he decided to take the leap. The rest is history. The decision to say yes changed Evans's life forever. His portrayal of Captain America became iconic, earning him praise from critics and fans alike. Over the course of nearly a decade, Evans brought depth and humanity to the character, making Captain America one of the most beloved heroes in cinematic history. Looking back, Evans often reflects on how fear almost cost him the role of a lifetime. By facing his fears head-on, he not only grew as an actor, but also inspired countless fans to find their own courage in the face of doubt. And that's why Chris Evans turning down the role of Captain America isn't just a Hollywood anecdote. It's a story of bravery, resilience, and the power of taking a leap of faith. In 2010, Marvel Studios was on a mission to assemble its Avengers. At the heart of this team was the virtuous and unyielding Steve Rogers, better known as Captain America. The role required an actor who could embody humility, resilience, and leadership, qualities that felt as if they had leapt straight off the comic book pages. Enter Chris Evans, a talented actor best known at the time for his comedic charm and cocky swagger, as Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four. Chris wasn't Marvel's first pick, neither was he particularly eager. He turned down the offer multiple times, fearing the burden of a multi-film contract and the pressure of the role. But behind the reluctance was a man who mirrored Steve Rogers more than he realized, a person hesitant to step into the spotlight, but destined to inspire. When Chris finally accepted the shield, the transformation began, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. He poured himself into the role, becoming the kind-hearted and earnest soldier fans revered. In Captain America, the First Avenger, 2011, audiences watched Steve Rogers transform from a skinny kid from Brooklyn to the super soldier who would lead the fight against tyranny. But it wasn't just the CGI-enhanced muscles that made the transformation convincing. It was Chris's ability to capture Steve's vulnerability. He wasn't just a hero with a shield. He was a man with a heart, one who would dive on a grenade before thinking of his own safety. Chris Evans became more than just an actor in a superhero role. He embodied the ideals of Captain America in his off-screen life. He stood for social justice, used his platform to inspire, and wasn't afraid to voice his beliefs, even when it was controversial. Just like Cap, Chris held firm in his convictions, reminding fans that real courage often happens in the face of adversity. In Avengers Endgame, 2019, Chris delivered one of the most iconic moments in cinematic history, wielding Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. It wasn't just a testament to his strength, but to his worthiness. Fans around the globe cheered not just for the hero on screen, but for the man who had spent nearly a decade proving that good men still exist. When Chris passed the shield in Endgame, it wasn't just Steve Rogers retiring, it was Chris Evans completing his journey. He left behind a legacy, not just as Captain America, but as an actor who turned a comic book character into a symbol of hope, resilience, and integrity. Chris Evans wasn't born to play Captain America. He became Captain America. And in doing so, he reminded us that anyone, no matter how hesitant, can rise to be the hero the world needs. That's all for today's video. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. For more content like this, stay tuned and join our community.